Today, I'm going to show you how to make your very first beat using the new MPC Studio. Free beat. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Free Beat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, let's get started. So, you just got your new MPC Studio, you've booted up the MPC software, and now what? Well, that's where this video comes in. Today we're going to go over making your very first beat using the MPC software, and of course that will also cover just some basics of the software and the studio as well. So, let's dive in. So, let's turn our attention to the computer here. Over here is where we see our sequence with our sequence information. So we are on sequence 1. We can click on this little drag down and go to a new sequence. We can also select our sequence by pressing Shift and Track Select on the MPC Studio. However, let's stick on the computer for now. So we can see here we have bars, as well as BPM, as well as loop, as well as time signature. So for the purposes of this demo, we are going to click on bars, and we are going to set that to 1 rather than 2. We're just going to make a 1 bar long phrase. BPM is going to be our tempo. 120 is absolutely fine. Loop means that when we come to the end of our sequence, it's just going to loop around through it again. We can toggle that on or off. And time signature is our time signature. We can just leave that right at 4/4 for now. Now, sequences are made up of different tracks in the MPC workflow. Right now we're on track 1. We can also switch between our tracks on the MPC Studio as well by using the track select function here, but we will do it on the computer for now. Tracks are made up of programs. Programs are the actual sounds that make music on the tracks. Now, we have different track types. We have drums, key groups, plugins, MIDI, clip, and CV. The important ones that you'll be using most often when you're just starting are drum, key group, and plugin. Today, we're only going to use drum and plugin. So the drum type makes the track a collection of one-shot samples, and we can actually download pre-organized samples in kits, and that's what the MPC software comes with when we first get started. So let's go ahead and use the MPC Studio to browse our kit selection. So on the Studio, I'm going to press the Browse button. Now, you probably can't see the screen because it's so small, but I'm going to scroll down to 80s Grid Kit. It's actually called 80s Kit F9 Grid Kit. I'm going to click in the wheel to select that kit. Okay, so now we've got that kit added to our program pool, basically. So if I now click on Program Select on the MPC, I can go from Program 1 to the program we just loaded, which is our 80s kit. Now you'll see the pads light up, and we can play them. So now the fun part. Now we get to do some finger drumming, and trust me, I'm going to make it as simple as possible. So right now, if we were to hit play start, it will play the sequence from the beginning, and we won't hear a click. There's no metronome at all. The way we want to enable that is by clicking record first. You'll see record is flashing. That means our sequence is armed to record the current track that we're on, in this case, of course, our 80s grid kit. So now if I press play start, we'll get a 4-click count in, and then it'll start recording. So right now it's waiting for us to record input. We can see our playhead moving through our 4 beats here in our 4/4 measure, and it just keeps looping because we have the loop feature on. So I'm going to press stop. Now next time I'm going to still arm it by pressing record and then press play start. We're going to hear 4 clicks, and then we're going to start playing just our bass drum. And the pattern that we're going to play is really easy. We're just going to do this. We're going to play this over the click at the exact same time, okay? So here we go. Record. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only need to play it 4 times because our measure is so short. Now we can click stop, and if we press play start again, we will hear our 4 on the floor kick drum beat with no metronome. Nice. So now how do we add to that? Well, we could make a whole new track and add something in that way, or we can use the overdub feature. Overdub lets us record to the same track that we're on without affecting what we already laid down. It works just like record, so we press overdub first to arm it for recording. Now the pad we're going to play is pad number 2 right here. The snare drum. We're going to get 4 clicks again before we can start playing. And we're going to start counting to 4 with that click, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And every time we say 2 and 4, we're going to play this snare drum, all right? Nice and easy. So let's try it. Overdub, play start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see after I was done recording, I pressed overdub again to turn off the click, but keep the sequence playing. Next, let's use the note repeat feature to add some hi-hats. So first, let's find a pad with some good hi-hats. Here we go, pad number 3. Now what we're going to do is hold the note repeat button down up here, and with our finger on the touchpad, we can see that 1/16 is lit up. We are going to move our finger down to 1/8, which is right here. Now when we hold down that pad, we can hear the hi-hats playing. So with our hand still in this position, let's go ahead and hit overdub again and play start. Now we can hold the hi-hat pad and it'll automatically quantize everything as long as we have note repeat held down and 1/8. Press overdub again to toggle off the metronome, and there we go. And there is your first very, very basic beat. Now, what if you want to change the tempo? Well, that's as easy as holding the tempo button on the MPC Studio and using the dial to change the tempo. You can change it to whatever you want. And of course, you can also do that with your mouse and keyboard over here at the BPM section. So what do you say we add a bass line real quick, okay? So what we need to do is make a new track. So we can go to the MPC, click on track select, then we can turn the knob to select track 2. Now we need to make a new program. So for that, we come to the computer, we're gonna go down here to program, and we're gonna click on the little plus sign. Now we're on program number 2. What we're gonna use for this program is one of the built-in plugin instruments. So we can either select that by taking the mouse and clicking right here on the plugin icon, or we can hold Shift and press Program Select on the MPC and turn the dial to plugin. Now we need to find the plugin that we want to use. So on the computer, if we come down here to Plugin, we can see that Tube Synth is selected by default. We can click on this little drop-down arrow, and here's all of our plugins. Let's go to Bassline. Now we can browse the presets of that plugin. So we do that down here at the preset section, or we can simply click in Program Select again and get to our presets on the MPC. The screen's a little small for my liking for doing that. I like to do it on the computer. Let's go to Basic Bass, and let's just click on Warm Analog Saw. So now, as long as we go to Program Select and make sure that we are on plugin number 1, our pads should be our bass. And by default, they should be set up to a major scale. If we want to change what the pads are set up to play, we can simply hold Shift and press 16 levels. This will bring us to the pad perform section here. We can keep pressing 16 levels while holding Shift to get to the root note section where we can change what this bottom pad represents here. We can click on it again and get to our scale mode. So I'm going to select natural minor. There we go. If you're looking for this section on the software, it's simply right here. Might be a little bit faster to use the mouse and keyboard, but it's nice to be able to do on the hardware if you're already kind of feeling it finger drumming wise. So let's use the note repeat function again to get a nice, simple, repetitive bass line. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to hold note repeat, and this time I want 1/16 to be lit up. So that's the default setting. I don't have to put my finger on the touch strip at all. When I hold the pad, we get 16th notes. So let's make sure we are indeed on track 2. Let's hit record to arm it for recording, and then press play start. We're going to get a count of 4. We're going to hold note repeat and get ready to play our pad. 2, 3, 4. You can see there I added a note at the end. I just went. But you don't have to do that. You can play this the whole time if you'd like. Let's listen. Nice. And remember, if for some reason you hear the click track when you don't want to, just make sure that record and overdub are not highlighted. So let's add one more track. Let's add a chord over that, so I can show you how the chord mode works. So we're going to make sure we're on track select. We're going to go to track 3. Once again, we're going to go back to the computer. We're going to click on this little plus icon here to make a new program. Now we're on plugin 2. By default, since we were already on a plugin, we're already on the plugin track type again. Now, let's stay on tube synth. Let's just use the default. Also by default, we should have the minor scale still selected. We do. So now what we're going to do is turn the pad perform feature to chord mode. So I'm going to hold shift and press 16 levels. So it says notes. I want to change it to chords using the dial. Now we can hear a nice C minor chord. The red pads, by the way, are your octave jump. If you want to access different octaves, you can hold shift, 16 level, and tab through them until you get to the notes/octave section, but I'm cool with this chord right here. So once again, let's make sure we're on track 3. Yep, let's arm it to record. This time we're going to get a count of 4, and when it actually starts playing, we're just going to hit this pad right here on beat 1, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. There's a very, very basic beat using 3 different tracks. We've got drums, a bass line, and some very simple chords. Hopefully this was a decent way of learning the very, very basics of the MPC software workflow with the MPC Studio as a controller. So I do hope you found this video helpful, or at least entertaining. If so, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.